Hey guys, in this tutorial I'm going to be briefly showing you how to use the Fruity Peak controller to automate things such as a EQ inside of FL Studio. So let's go ahead here, let's go to our kick drum and create a simple beat. It's going to sound something like that. And now since we want to assign effects to it, let's go over, click on it, and go to our effects channel, and put it at 1 if it was not already there. Go to our insert on our mixer, which you can get by 9. And select the Fruity Peak controller. And this brings up this small little box here. Now I'm just going to run through what these basically mean. The base is how much signal is always there. So this is constant. As you can see, our P rises whenever we bring that up. Our volume is how much amplification our signal is going to get. Our transient is how quickly it releases and attacks. And that's basically all you need to know for the Fruity Peak controller. Since we have our kick in channel 1, we can just play through this, and you can see our input, which is our I, and our output, which is the P. Now if I raise the volume, the amplification goes up, and I have a stronger signal. And you might be wondering, why can't I hear this? And that's because there's a small little button right here that says mute. If you unclick that, you can hear your kick again. Now what I want to do here is to duck a bass that I'm going to make an FM8. You can use 3-osc, it really doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter at all because I'm going to be using the mixer to do everything. I'm just going to create already what we have as a sine wave, and I'm going to give myself some feedback. So I have some higher notes. I'm just going to also raise the volume of it. Easier, bring up the bass. Now remember, you can just do this in 3-osc, it really doesn't matter what synthesis you use. Since I want to assign effects to this synthesizer, I'm going to go to my effects and assign it to the next free mixer channel, which is 2. And I'm going to have this play a low bass note, like a D. Just a fun fact, notes D through about G resonate the best when you're doing basses. So if you listen to a lot of EDM, that's most of the songs are written in these keys down here. Now you can hear when the kick comes in, the sound starts to get a little muddy because the kick is trying to occupy the same frequency as the FM8 synth, and there's a very easy way to fix this with our Peak controller. So we're going to go over here, we're going to click and press Fruity Parametric EQ 2, and we can see this is our bass right here in our low bass section. And if we go over to our kick and also add an EQ, we can visualize that the kick is using the same frequencies, as you can see, and that's what's making it muddy. Now what you can do to duck the bass is go back to your Insert 2, which has your bass in it, click on the Parametric EQ, and we're going to go ahead over to our second band, which is here, right-click it, and press Link to Controller. In our internal controller, we're going to click Peak Controller, Peak, yes, and that will link it to our Peak controller and our kick. And we're also going to go to our mapping formula and do inverted, because as the signal gains from our kick, we want to drop the EQ in our bands here. And we're just going to press OK. Now, let's see. Now, you may be looking like it's actually boosting the bass, but we just have to modify how much starting volume our kick gets. So we're going to go ahead over to Insert 1 again, go to our Peak controller, and adjust the bass. Now as I adjust this bass, this is going to come down, because the more input we have, the lower this gets. So I'm just going to start until it gets about neutral in the center there. Now when I play this, it's going to drop like usual. And see, and you can automate this however you'd like. I like it about there. It takes out most of the sub bass when my kick is coming in, so it doesn't get muddy. Now this is still a rudimentary example, but you'll be able to apply it however you need to within FL Studio. And reduce the volume so it doesn't go down as much. Now what I can also do is automate any other effect. For instance, if I wanted to put a, let's say, something that you can hear well. How about a reverb? Now what I want to do is automate the dry signal to come in whenever the kick comes in. So I'm going to do the same thing, right-click it, link to controller, click peak. Make sure that remove conflicts is off, because if it is on, then it will remove the other link between the kick and the parametric EQ. So if you want to have more than one link to one controller, you want to have remove conflicts turned off. Our mapping formula is going to be default, because what I want to do is have the dry go up whenever my input is coming in, as opposed to the opposite when we were doing our parametric EQ. We're going to accept this, and you'll be able to hear the results and see them. So that's the basics of it. I hope you learned something. Thanks.